I've always liked the quiet here, not the soft, honeyed kind of quiet that hums in church pews, or the hush that falls when the preacher stops speaking. No, this quiet is sharp. It cuts through the trees and slaps against your back as soon as you step out the door. The mountains fold over themselves like tired old ladies asleep in rocking chairs, and I'm the only one left awake to watch them. They call this Hollow Ridge, not because it's empty exactly, God knows it's full, but because the hollows swallow things whole. Dogs, kids, men who wandered too far. Whole towns vanish in a fog, and nobody asks questions. My ma told me that once, sitting by the stove, hands trembling around a cup of coffee that had gone cold. Things, she said, don't always stay gone, Leona. Sometimes they come back. Worse. I think about that now, a lot, when I run my hands along the peeling wood of the porch. I live alone, not because I chose it, though maybe I did. I've always liked it better when the air is just mine, when the wind isn't carrying gossip about me or the smell of a neighbor's fried chicken. I'm the last of the Ellisons' last stubborn piece of the ridge that remembers. All the others are gone. They got themselves killed, or drunk themselves under the bridge, or left and never wrote. Me? I stayed, and I think the ridge likes me that way. Last week it started again. I don't know why I do it. I can feel it coming, twitching under my ribs like an animal I've been trying to cage for 52 years. I found a man in the woods. Just a man, tripping over roots, looking lost. I should have helped him, I know that. Everybody else would have. But I didn't. Not at first. I watched him fall. Branches cracked under his weight, and there was this wet, satisfying sound when his skull met the rocks at the creek. I shivered and felt alive. The neighbors, when I talk to them, they can't see it. I smile at them. Old Mrs. Carrow down the lane, Mr. Hensley up by the general store. They think I'm just quiet, thoughtful, maybe a little lonely, but they don't know what's crawling under my skin, the itch I can't scratch unless I let it out. I think they wouldn't like it if they did. I keep my knives sharpened. The big one hangs over the stove. The small one sleeps under my pillow. I like their weight in my hand, the way metal slides against my palm, whispers when I pull it free. Sometimes I talk to them, tell them what I'm thinking. They don't answer back, but I swear they understand. It was the wind that night, howled like a pack of wolves over the ridge. I could hear it pressing against the windows, rattling the sills, begging me to step outside. And I did. I went down to the creek, the one that twists like a snake through the woods behind my house. The water was red in the moonlight. At first I thought it was reflection, or iron in the rocks, but no, it wasn't the creek. It was me. Blood, my own. A cut, tiny but deep enough to make my hand shake and warm the dark. And then I laughed. Not a little giggle. A full, high laugh that bounced off the rocks and trees, echoing back to me as if the ridge itself joined in. I don't sleep much anymore. I hear things in the house, scratches on the floorboards, creaks in the ceiling, a whisper that sounds like my ma calling me to supper when she's been dead 30 years. Sometimes I swear the walls breathe. Sometimes I'm glad they do. At least someone in this house is alive. The first time it happened, I didn't mean for it to. The man was drunk, or maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just soft and round and weak where the ridge is hard and sharp. I invited him in. He smiled at me, foolish, trusting. I offered whiskey. He drank it. I offered a bed. He took it. And then, it was easy. Too easy. My hands knew before I did. They wanted, they remembered. And I let them. I let them do exactly what they were born to do. The ridge doesn't judge me. It can't. It only remembers. The way I do. It whispers in the wind when no one's looking, and sometimes I swear it chuckles along with me. I think about the blood. I think about the smell of it, warm and sweet, sticky on my fingers. I think about how alive it makes me feel, how the quiet hums, how the ridge leans in close and listens. I can't stop myself. I don't want to. I think that's how it starts, being the last of your blood. You take what you want. You take what belongs. The ridge teaches you. I'm learning. Some nights I walk through the hollows, boots sinking in mud and leaves, listening. The forest has ears, they tell me. It remembers. If you walk softly, it will show you things. Shadows that move too quick, eyes that blink in the dark, branches that stretch like hands. I follow them sometimes. Sometimes I hide. Sometimes I wait. I keep a journal too, even though nobody will ever read it. I write about the ridge, about the animals that come too close, about the men who wander and the men who vanish. I write about the smell of wet moss and the tang of blood. I write about the way the creek hums when it's full of someone else's mistakes. My handwriting trembles on the page sometimes, but I like that. It means I'm still alive. And the ridge watches, always. I can feel it in the damp air, in the way the trees lean just so, as if they're whispering to each other. Some days I swear I hear it laugh with me. Other days, it's quiet, waiting, patient. I've killed before, not often, not like a butcher, but enough that I know the taste of it lingers in the air long after the hands are washed. My first, I remember, was a stranger in the woods. I thought it was wrong. I thought I would regret it. But when he fell and I saw the life leave his eyes, something inside me cracked open, and I laughed. God, I laughed. High, thin, and wild, echoing off the rocks like bells. I felt powerful, alive. The ridge liked it too. Since then, I've been careful. I've learned the patterns, the ways the people drift in and out, the ways the darkness hides things that nobody else sees. The ridge whispers, and I listen. It tells me when to wait, when to strike, when to leave nothing behind but a broken smell and a silence that hums. Sometimes I find myself thinking about Ma, about the way she used to sit in her chair, knitting and staring at the fire. She knew things, I think. She must have. How else could I be like this? Maybe it runs in the blood, maybe it skips a generation, maybe it waits. I've started leaving marks, small ones at first, notches in trees, scratches on the doors, tiny traces that someone might notice if they looked close enough. I do it for the ridge, for me, for the memory of my line. The Ellisons have always been particular, careful, patient, ruthless when the ridge calls for it. I can feel the old blood in my veins, hard and cold, urging me on. I know I'm changing. I can feel it in the way my hands tremble, in the way the shadows bend just slightly when I walk past them, as if even the darkness knows me now. I am the last, yes, but not weak, not broken. I am alive in ways they never were. I am sharp. I am hungry. I am Hollow Ridge, and the forest knows it. The creek knows it. The wind knows it. And soon, the world will know it too. I close the journal and place the knife on the counter. Its edge catches the candlelight and glints like a promise. I smile because I know what it says. It whispers the way the ridge whispers, and I understand every word. I am not afraid. Not of the dark, not of the blood, not of the ridge, not of myself. The ridge will keep me, and I will keep the ridge. And if anyone dares wander too close, well, they will know what it means to be remembered. The woods are louder at night, or maybe I just hear them better. They whisper and shift and sway, and when the wind dies down, I can hear the things I've done settling into the dirt, making little cracks, little sighs. I like that sound. It tells me I'm alive. It tells me the ridge remembers. I spotted him first from the kitchen window. Thin man, wearing a suit that smelled like old tobacco and cheap cologne. He was wandering through the hollows, hands in pockets, eyes darting like he knew he was being watched. And he was. By me. I didn't run. I never run. I waited on the porch, sipping whiskey, boots on the boards, listening to the night breathe. The moon was high, pale and lazy, spilling over the hills like spilled milk. I smiled and waved, just a small flick of my fingers. He thought it was neighborly. He had no idea. By the time he realized I was watching, it was too late. I was already moving, quiet, careful. Even the wind seemed to step back and let me pass. I trailed him through the hollow, keeping to shadows, letting the roots and rocks do the work for me. He stumbled over them like a fool. I laughed softly, the sound curling around the trees, and it was like the woods were laughing too. When he turned, I was there, not running, not yelling, just there. My hands were steady, my eyes cold. He smiled first. Idiot, men always do. It's in the blood. He never saw the knife until I pressed it against his shoulder. Just a light touch, not enough to hurt, but enough to make him still. "Don't hurt me," he said, voice tight and shaky. And I laughed, high, thin, wild, echoing over the hollow like the creek, laughing at itself. "Oh, I won't," I said. "Not yet. The ridge teaches patience. I've learned that. Watch, wait. When the right moment comes, the ridge will open its mouth and swallow, and I am its teeth." We walked together for a while. He didn't know we were walking to his end. He thought we were neighbors. He thought I was lonely. He thought he might even survive. I told him stories of the ridge, of the people who used to live here, of the Ellisons who walked the same paths I do, who knew things I know now. He leaned on me, soft, pliable, trusting, and I let him. And then I remembered the creek, the way the water hums when it's full of mistakes, the way the rocks wait, and I laughed again because it's funny, isn't it? How easy it is to teach a man to fall. He stumbled first, right on the edge, tripping over roots and rocks in my patience. I pressed the knife to his ribs, just enough to feel the tremor run through him. His blood was sweet and warm already, soaking into the moss like it belonged there. I smiled. "You see," I said softly, "the ridge doesn't like to waste." And it didn't. It swallowed him whole. Not literally, of course, but it wrapped around him like a promise. My hands were steady. I watched the life drain out of him, and I felt something. Satisfaction, yes, but more. Something else. A hum, a vibration in my chest that told me I was exactly where I was meant to be. I dragged him into the creek myself, just a little. It was fun, watching the water run red under the moonlight, listening to the splash and the gurgle, feeling it seep into my boots and smell my hands. And then I left him there, quiet, for the wind to carry away the rest. I came back to the house soaked and smelling of iron. I washed my hands, my face, my hair. I poured another whiskey and sat by the fire. The knives gleamed, sharp, patient, like me. But the ridge was not done, never done. I could feel it itching under my skin, pressing in, whispering in my ears, more, always more. Sometimes I catch myself talking to the shadows in the corners. They answer in small ways, whispers, scratches, movements too quick to be real. I know I'm not insane, not exactly. I know what I see, what I hear. The ridge has eyes in places humans cannot see, and it lends them to me. There's a humor to it sometimes, watching a man flail like a fish caught in a net, hearing him beg when he thinks I won't, smiling when he calls me crazy. Crazy, I say, and the word tastes sweet. They all do, the things humans say. And yet, there is danger. Always danger. The ridge does not forgive mistakes. The first time I slipped, the first time I thought I could take someone and they could slip away, it bit back. I remember a boy once, quick, clever, slipped from my grasp and ran screaming down the ridge. I didn't catch him. I thought I would. I almost did, but he vanished. The hollows swallowed him. I laughed anyway. The ridge laughed too. It remembered. I've started noticing things, small, subtle things, shadows that linger too long, branches that bend too smoothly, smells in the air, faint, metallic, the echo of what I've done. It's like the ridge is speaking, telling me I am right where I need to be. I think about the people I see in the hollows sometimes. I see them drift too close, walking the paths, humming to themselves. They think the ridge is just trees and dirt. They think it's quiet. They're wrong. The ridge is alive. It watches. It chooses. And sometimes it chooses me. I've begun leaving offerings for it now. Small things at first, bread, whiskey, trinkets. Then more, things that belong to the people who wandered too close. Their watches, their boots, a locket sometimes. I leave them at the roots of trees, at the edges of creeks, in the hollows where the wind carries whispers. I like the way the ridge hums when it finds them. The darkness presses in at the edges of my vision. I hear it breathing, moving, and I feel the pull, the hunger. It is not just mine. It never was. It belongs to the ridge, and I am its hand, its teeth, its voice. One night, I caught a man trying to steal firewood from the back of the house. I could have shouted, scared him away, called the sheriff, but I didn't. I let him linger, fumbling with the logs, unaware of my presence, and then I stepped out, knife in hand, boots sinking in mud, hair wild in the wind. His eyes went wide. That's always the first thing. Eyes. They widen, they plead, they do not lie, and I did not lie to them. Not much. "Evening," I said. "Careful where you tread." And when he tried to run, I was faster, always faster. Knives in hands, teeth bared in my own silent smile. I cornered him at the creek, and the water sang for me. There was screaming. There was blood. There was the sweet, cold smell that clings to hair and skin and boots, the smell of life leaving. And there was laughter, my laughter, echoing across the hollow like the ridge itself had joined in. I dragged him back to the house, draped him over the firewood, careful, methodical. The ridge whispered in my ear as I worked, giving me directions, showing me how to slice just so, how to drain without destroying. I laughed at the irony of it, at the way humans think they're safe, that the darkness is somewhere else. By morning, the creek ran red again, and the ridge hummed like a satisfied beast. I cleaned my knives, poured whiskey, and sat by the fire, listening, waiting. And I thought about it, about me, about what I am. I am the last Ellison. I am the ridge. I am hunger and teeth and memory and patience. I am what comes when humans wander too close. I am what the wind carries in its howl. I am laughter in the dark, and I am not done. The wind has changed. It doesn't whisper anymore. It roars. It carries voices high and thin, laughing, screaming, whispering secrets I've long forgotten. It carries the blood of the ridge, the taste of everything I've taken, everything I've left behind. And I am alive in it. I am part of it. I don't walk through the hollows anymore. I run, boots pounding mud, knife slick in my hand, hair whipping my face like a banner. The ridge pulses under my feet, roots like veins, rocks like bones, and I feel them all, every tremor, every heartbeat. I am the last Ellison. I am hunger. I am teeth. I am memory. They come now without warning. Men, women, children sometimes, but mostly men. They drift in thinking the ridge is quiet, safe, empty. They never see me coming. Not really. My hands are faster than eyes can follow, my mind sharper than their instincts, and when I strike, oh, the sound. Flesh tearing, bones snapping, the wet, rich aroma of warm blood dripping over boots and leaves. The ridge hums with delight. I've lost count of them. I stopped caring. Names are meaningless, faces blur, their screams echo, and I laugh, high and wild, and it is a music that only the ridge and I understand. Some nights, I cut them open while they sleep, neat lines, surgical, savoring every heartbeat that skips and fades. Other nights, I let the chaos reign, tearing and biting and laughing as they thrash. Always, always, the ridge approves. I used to see my reflection in the creek, pale, tired, hair knotted and wet, eyes bright with bloodlust. Now the reflection is wrong. It moves on its own, smirking, whispering, suggesting. The ridge is in me. I am it. My skin feels thicker, my teeth sharper, my hands remember things I do not consciously. They know how to cut, to split, to carve. They remember centuries of Ellison blood running through them, guiding, shaping. I find humor in it sometimes, watching a man beg, listening to a woman wail, not cruel in the way humans are cruel, but efficient, necessary, funny in the dark, absurd, like life itself is a joke and the ridge is the punchline. The creek runs red every day now, not because I want it to, but because it must. It remembers, and the ridge remembers. It calls to me, pushes me, lifts me when I am weak. I have become its hand, its voice, its predator. I walk into the hollows, and the trees bend for me. Branches curl like fingers guiding me, marking the paths. Shadows leap from trunks to trunks, following, waiting, whispering. Sometimes they move faster than I can, but I do not mind. They are mine. They belong to me. We belong together. There is a house across the ridge, small, pale, with smoke rising from its chimney. I know the family inside. They are human, soft, fragile, alive, perfect. I watch them through the trees, crouched, silent. My knife whispers from the belt at my waist. The ridge hums in my chest. I feel it tug, hungry. And then I step forward. My boots crush leaves, twigs snap. I hear the child laugh. It's a sound that makes my blood boil with delight. I step faster, running now, feeling the ridge bend and stretch beneath me, carrying me, pushing me toward them. The front door bursts open. I don't knock. I don't ask. I do not wait. The man steps out first, hands raised, foolish, trusting. I smile. The knife bites deep into his chest. Warm blood blossoms across my hands. He gasps. I laugh. The ridge laughs too. The woman screams. I don't stop. She's fast, but I am faster. I tear, I slash, I carve. Bones crack under my hands. Flesh parts with ease. It is beautiful. The child cries, and I scoop it up. It is light, warm, still breathing, still innocent. I hold it to my chest. I can feel the ridge in its heart, humming, pulsing. It will remember. All of them will remember. The house is quiet after, too quiet. I walk through it, knives slick, boots wet with blood, eyes scanning, touching, tasting. The ridge is with me. I am with it. We are endless together. Sometimes I stop and look at my hands. Red, shining, perfect. They are mine, but not. They are old, older than me. They belong to the Ellisons who came before, to the ridge, to the hills and hollows and creeks. They remember what must be done, and I remember too. The humans never learn. They never see. They wander, they step, they breathe. And the ridge does what it has always done. It chooses, and I am its teeth, its hands, its laughter. I do not feel guilt, not truly. I feel the hum, the pulse, the inevitability. I am alive in a way humans cannot understand. I am eternal. I am hunger. I am blood and bone and shadow. The ridge stretches its arms through me. I can feel it in the house across the way, in the creek, in the hollows. I can feel it in the soil, in the leaves, in the wind that wails through the trees. I am part of it, and it is part of me. I am no longer Leona Ellison. I am Hollow Ridge. I am the last blood, and the first. I am the teeth in the dark, the whisper in the wind, the shadow at the edge of your vision. I am what comes for those who wander too close, and it is beautiful. I walk back to my house, boots soaking, knives dripping. The ridge hums, the creek sings, shadows curl around my feet, around my arms, around my heart. I am never alone, never. I think of Ma. I think of her chair, of the fire, of her hands knitting and trembling. She would understand. She would know. She would smile, just like I do now. The ridge does not forgive. It does not forget. It does not tire, and neither do I. I am eternal now, endless. The blood of the Ellisons runs in my veins, sharper than steel, deeper than roots, stronger than the bones of the mountains themselves. I step outside. The wind roars. The creek hums. The hollows stretch before me. I am ready. I am hunger. I am teeth. I am the last Ellison, and I am new. The night waits. I run.